Alright, so here is the spare parts C64. This is the second one that I picked up to try to scavenge for parts to repair the original one. The one you saw in the last 2 weeks' videos where I was trying to test the diagnostic kit that I got. This one I ended up, as a recap, I ended up taking the VIC-II chip out from this one, putting it in the other one, and everything started to magically work. So what I want to try and do is to get this diagnosed and fixed, hopefully enough to run the diagnostic card to see if it shows any issues with it at all or not. If it exhibits the same problem as it did with the other one, because then I'll know for sure if it's the cart or not, or if it actually is a defect in the first C64 that I picked up. So pretty sure I know at the very least there's a RAM issue, because I've actually tried to record this video, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 times already over the past year, and I just keep not going far with it because I keep getting distracted and things like that. So we're going to go ahead and turn this on and see what comes up on screen. So as you can see, it flashes once, and that definitely indicates a memory issue. Now, of course, depending on which revision of the C64 you've got, since this is a Rev A-B board, this is a Rev B in fact. So model number 251137 Rev B. So since it's flashing once, that means it's U12, which is this guy right there. Now, we're going to try the piggyback method to see if it works. And if it does, great. And if not, then I'm going to have to, for sure, take off the shielding, which is soldered on. Except, interestingly enough, this tab and this tab here looks like they were never ever used at all. There's no solder marks anywhere. They're not even bent, really. I don't know if that was from the factory on purpose or if they forgot to. Who knows? Let's go ahead and grab a RAM chip here. And let's see. Looks like it's making contact. Nope, still flashing. So now there might be an issue in that the chips that are on the board are 4164 NP20s. These are 4164 15s. Now, they're different manufacturers, so they have slightly different model numbers, but 4164 is the important part, and the dash whatever number is also important. In that I believe that these are 200 nanosecond and these will be 150 nanosecond. Now, again, some places online say that's an issue. Some say it's not. I'm not sure. I know modern memory, if you put faster RAM in a slot that doesn't support that high of a speed, the memory will be downclocked. Also, I've seen cases where if all but one of the RAM sticks are a certain speed and the other RAM stick is a different speed, they will all downclock to match the speed of the slowest chip. Now, I don't know if that's true in older systems or not. We're going to have to find out the hard way, because I'm going to have to desolder these tabs and remove the shielding to get underneath so that I can desolder U12 and go from there. I'm gonna potentially hear fan in the background, so I'm going to try to blow some of this exhaust away. So let's go ahead and a lot of people just snip it off and just leave it as is. Sometimes they'll just break it off. I'm not sure I want to do either. I'm going to try to just remove them, so we'll see. But I may grab some tweezers first, and perhaps some needle nose as well. Anyway, let's first see. Let me crank up the temperature actually here, because I've got it set to 300. Let's go to 370, because this is all attached to the ground plane, and that's going to absorb a lot of the heat. So I just want to see if it's going to be easy or not. And of course, everything's soldered on the left side. I'm right-handed, and I'd have much better control with the soldering iron my right hand, but it is what it is, so... Oh, let's see if I can even melt it. That is not going to melt. Let's crank it up further. Oh yeah, look at that. 480 is a magic number. Now if I can just... Of course, desoldering would probably be better. I could just use my soldering pump. I still have yet to use it, so... But I also want to try it this way. There. I believe that is that. Surprised I haven't sliced my finger open on these tabs yet. And now that I've said it, I've jinxed myself and... What is that, copper tape? Oh yeah, copper tape, which they've soldered on as well. Fortunately, what are your thoughts? Save or get rid of? Personally, I don't think these are needed, so. But it's probably recyclable, so. And then we just have this cardboard, which is still mostly intact. Except for a little bit of glue there. Yeah, pretty much intact there. Well, since we're down here, let's take a look. See if there's anything obvious. Sorry for the glare. I'll have to clean the bottom of that off. A little bit tarnish. Shouldn't be too difficult to tidy up. No bodge wires that I can see. No broken traces that I can see. Let's see, it was U9 that was bad. Which would be this chip up here. Which would be this row of pins here. Yeah. Okay, so I have two options. I can either solder wick, or I can use my desoldering gun, and I don't know which because, like I said, I've never used a desoldering gun before, and I'd rather not test it on here. But at the same time, it'd be nice to become familiar with its capabilities. Either way, we don't need 480 anymore. Let's bring that down to 350, give or take. Lead-free solder, just in case, although I've got leaded stuff too, which is definitely supposed to be better, but obviously more toxic. Wait for the soldering iron to get down in temperature. Hope you can see that on camera. If I zoom in, it's going to get grainier, so you're not going to get any better video feed than that, unfortunately. So we'll first rock it old school and try the soldering wick, and then if I really struggle with it, then I am going to go new school route with the desoldering gun. Either way, once we remove the chip, we're going to install a socket, and we'll try the new RAM and see what happens. last two pins on both sides are really giving me trouble. Most of these legs are free, some are not. I may have to actually get a chance to use my desoldering gun just to finish the job. All right, going out for the big gun, so to speak. All right, here goes nothing. Okay, I think they're all... Now in theory, that should be it. Looks like there's still... It's possible it's on the top side here, which... Yeah, there's a little bit of solder holding some of these legs still in place on the top side, which is going to be a little bit more challenging, but shouldn't be impossible. Still stuck on this side here. All right, now what did I do with those sockets? Now, these aren't the rounded type, but they are, they do have connectors on both sides, so should make better contact. Oh, would you look at that? Now, get solder on there so that it makes sure that it's, yep, so now it's not going to come out. And now I can solder the rest. Make sure I didn't bridge anything. Doesn't look like it. I will clean it off first and find out. Now hopefully I won't have to do this 7 more times. We'll see. I guess not bad for my first time. Although I think I can get a little more on this one here. Maybe one more on this one. A little more, I should say. Yeah, that's better. Much better. And they don't seem to stick out that far, so I'm not going to worry about trimming the leads. All right, now we'll leave the equipment on so there'll still be a little bit of a fan in the background, but that's okay, just in case I need to do any more soldering. You know what I'm going to do? Now, RAM. There, the first RAM chip I've socketed ever on a Commodore 64. Whether that's an accomplishment or not, no idea. I also don't care because it's kind of neat. So let's get this hooked back up to the monitor here. And we'll try without the dead test first, just in case. Still getting a black screen. We'll give it a minute though. Okay, dead test back in. Still flashing once as if it was U9. Now it could be that I didn't put the socket in right. It could be that this chip just doesn't work at all. It could be the chip is not compatible. Hard to say. That's why I've got 9 more. Nope, still flashing once. Bummer. Let's look again at the soldering of the socket and see what happened. Now, if it's not that, I mean, it's not going to be the other RAM chips necessarily either. There might be one trace that I can probably touch up. Well, it shouldn't matter. Yeah, it looks like it shouldn't matter, but you never know. Yes, and I should have taken the chip up before attempting to solder, but, you know. Still flashing U9. So, could it be one of these memory controllers? Very possible. Could it be a CPU? Could it be... No, it's hard to say. I don't have a logic probe or an oscilloscope to actually check the data lines out, unfortunately, so I can't say for sure if there is anything else wrong with this. And again, it could also be the fact that it's 15 or 150 nanosecond RAM versus 20. So, but we can also try the original chip just in case. Maybe it was just a bad solder joint. Immediately goes back to just flashing white once per second. And this is a Rev B board, so I know it's U9 and not U12. And I really don't want to replace all of the RAM chips anyway, right now, if I don't have to. Especially if it ends up being, you know, one of these memory controllers here instead. So I'm going to have to do a little more research. And we may need to revisit this again in the future once I have some more answers. Could also be bad caps. It could be, you know, a whole lot of different things. So I think I've spent enough time on this anyways, almost an hour of recording, and I've spent more than that just off camera. See if there's any broken traces anywhere on top. Definitely nothing on the bottom. Guess the other thing I can do is see if I can't get a tone on it. Okay, maybe. Where am I? Right there. I wanted to get my quad hands out, but they're not going to reach that way, so I'll have to do it that way. That's not going to be easy, and I'm bumping the camera because of these edge connectors here. So that's not going to work. So I didn't screw up soldering the socket in, fortunately. So then the issue is either memory incompatibility or one of the memory controllers. So what I'm going to do is call it a wraps on this video, because what I'm going to do is do some research. I'm going to order some 200 nanosecond memory, which will probably take some time to get here because I don't know where it's shipping from. Plus, if I can do some research to find out, yeah, it might be one of the memory controllers, well, then I'm going to have to order some of those too, sadly. Of course, it could be CPU, it could be a whole bunch of different things. So a quick addendum, well, maybe not quick, to what you just saw. Bit of a goof that I made, and I realized it while I was editing the video. When we first saw this, we ran the dead test, flashed once on screen, which according to the manual suggests that it was a bad RAM chip, more than likely a bad U12, right? So we tried the piggyback method, could not get it to work or anything, so I went about and tried to remove the chip and replace it, except I ended up removing U9, not U12, which is here. Now, when I did the piggyback method, I did test it on U12, as you saw earlier, so it's not like I screwed up from the beginning. So this was for naught. So that's why I'm probably still getting the flashing screen. So we have to remove U12, which I'm going to do. I'm going to socket it, and I'm going to test it and see what happens. And I'm sorry for the shaky cam, but I just did a quick setup real quick so that I could get this recorded. Hopefully the audio quality isn't too terrible. I'll try to clean it up post-edit. But we're going to go ahead and remove U12 and put in a socket, put in a new RAM chip, and see what happens. Well, got the socket installed, got the RAM chip installed, and there's still no go. Still flashing once per second, which suggests U12. And yes, this time I made sure 100% that it's U12. So, earlier I mentioned that it's probably the memory controller. Well, I misspoke. I meant one of the multiplexers. The memory controller is technically the VIC-II chip. I knew what I meant in my head, but I didn't say it, obviously. So it could be one of these 74 LS257s. I'm going to see if I can get some, swap them out. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is grab the VIC-II from my original C64 and try that in there and see. Now, to refresh everyone, this is the spare parts C64 because I bought it to use for spare parts to repair the original C64 I picked up. Turns out, the VIC-II from this one originally worked in that one, and that's how I got it up and running. So I ordered a new VIC-II for this one, and that's when I got the blank screen, like, okay, I'll have to mess with that later. But I did take the VIC-II and test it in the quote-unquote working C64, the one you saw for the past couple of weeks, and this did work. But just because it did work at the time doesn't mean it works now. So I'm going to grab the VIC-II from the other one, put it in here, and see what happens. So unfortunately, no go. It still was giving me, just a flashing screen, so I'm thinking it's the multiplexer. However, the VIC-II from the spare parts C64, that is the second VIC-II that I bought, does work in the quote-unquote good C64. Dead test came up, it's running, it's doing, testing right now of RAM and everything, so that's why the screen is blank, but no go on the VIC-II from this C64 in the spare parts one. So I'm going to go ahead and get the 74 LS257, maybe a few other chips, and see what I can do. I'm also going to try to get some RAM that is 200 millisecond as opposed to 150. So, but yeah, as you can see, everything is good, everything's fine. So no dice. Oh well, I'm going to go ahead and get those parts ordered and hopefully have another follow-up soon. But yeah, we'll call it quits for this one today. I'll do some research, some more ordering, because I haven't spent enough money yet. But yeah, if you liked today's video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. And feel free to subscribe if you haven't yet, but again, no obligation. This is for me to have fun with, and if I didn't do this channel, I'd probably still be doing this stuff, but just on my own. So again, no obligation to subscribe, and if you didn't like the video, hit the thumbs down, but please leave a comment below as to why, so I can try to take that and help improve my videos going forward. Thanks all, and I'll catch you later.